seeing all these things kind of come together and connect, because things that I always love to say about health in general is that everything is connected. Every system is connected. Nothing operates independently of anything else. It's not just about, oh, I've been taking a multivitamin for a month. Yay. Okay, well, have you been depleting your system for years? Have you been in a really stressful job for the past decade? No wonder why your cortisol levels are fried. Quick background on the type of practitioner I am. I'm a chiropractor by training, but I'm also certified in acupuncture and Eastern medicine, specializing in female hormones, women's health, and fertility. And I got into this field because I always knew that I wanted to be a doctor. Like, I was an athlete growing up, and I knew that I wanted to use athletics to pay for my undergraduate degree and everything else. But I knew I wanted to go to graduate school. The practice that I had and the women that I was seeing and the issues that they had again and again and again was what kind of just led me down this path. I started diving into other ways to help work with women's bodies, using alternative medicine, using Eastern medicine. And that's what led me down the path of how I work with women's health today. Hormone testing provides an in-depth look at what's really going on for women. And a lot of women have the same experience that I did, where you don't get complete answers. Nobody looks at your full system. If you go in with one complaint, all they look at is that symptom, and they're not actually doing any deep dives. No one looks, further upstream on what's happening in your system to create that symptom. So doing the hormone testing allows you to see what's going on, where your levels are at, how your body's processing all these hormones, and then it gives you this roadmap, this complete roadmap to what your system is actually doing. And that's one of my favorite things when I go over a report with somebody. My favorite things to hear are women say, oh my gosh, this completely explains everything. This describes exactly how I'm feeling here and here, right? Because I'll go through and talk about, what we're seeing. And they're like, yes, that's why this, and this. And it really connects all these things together that are happening in their system. And one of the things that I'm actually really impressed with Dutch Test is the amount of provider support that you have. Like the education, the resources, everything else for providers and for patients too. Like, people can log on, watch videos, and understand more about what their test results are. So for somebody who is in the health field and they want to do a deep dive, they want to, really learn how to help women more, you guys do provide so much great information to get started, to make it easy to serve patients better and on a more complete basis. When you look at the amount of information that you guys have on video, it's the provider videos, everything else. And then you guys also offer consult calls. So especially getting started, it was the combination of the videos, the other documentation that you can read and process on your own time. But I signed up for consult calls too. That was fantastic. And to have them step by step walk you through, oh, this, and this. And they still have that as an option, even for somebody who's done, I've done hundreds. I don't even know how many Dutch tests I've done. A lot. A lot of Dutch tests. But even if there's something kind of funky that pops up, I can still be like, hey, what do you think about this? Or I'd love to go through this and hear somebody else's thoughts on it. So there's a collaborative effort there as well, which is fantastic to get that support as a provider. The way I work with women is virtually, and I run online programs and things like that. And so one of the things I actually started incorporating in my program is the Dutch test. I didn't used to do this. A couple of years ago, I just went off of what other testing they had, or how they presented, things like that, and gave them recommendations from there and did guidance from there and got, good results, with the majority of gals. But now with the Dutch test, I can literally pinpoint exactly things. Nothing gets missed for anybody, and they get better results faster. And then they can see things shift and change when we do an update. I really love what I do. I love what I do, and I love going through Dutch tests with people. Nothing makes me more excited than uncovering, because it's like solving a puzzle. It's solving a puzzle. Somebody is like, I'm not feeling good. I've gone in to see these 5 other practitioners, and I've not gotten any help from it. and just laying things out and having women understand, this is a thing, you're not crazy for feeling this way. And then here's your roadmap to start from to move towards the direction of you feeling better and functioning better so that you get to keep the right results. So I just love being a part of that journey for people. I have a couple of books that are out, which I love in terms of just education for women. And that's what I keep going for. I love educating and just informing women more about how their bodies function so that they can keep, the healthiest self possible. My first one is called The Female Fat Solution. This is on Amazon. And then I have The Female Menopause Solution on Amazon. This talks about how to eat for your hormones and cycle, and then how to eat for your body in menopause. Because when your hormones shift and change throughout the month, you have a different body. So it's important to kind of align with what your hormonal system is doing at that time. There's other, like blood testing, not that it's not good, but it's just like the tip of the iceberg in terms of information. To see what your level is as a snapshot, in your system, fine, but it doesn't tell you how you're processing it, how your liver might be, stuck in processing some of these hormones, or how your adrenals are impacted by your lack of sleep or insomnia issues. So seeing all these things kind of come together and connected, because things that I always love to say about health in general is that everything is connected. Every system is connected. Nothing operates independently of anything else. So by getting just like a snapshot blood test, you're only looking at a tiny piece and not actually seeing how everything incorporates together. With the Dutch test, you see those complete pictures. Everything is tied in. So, the sex hormones, the adrenal hormones, and then you look at all of the nutrient levels that get measured, right? The neurotransmitters that get measured. Those are important to see that information and how it affects and impacts your other hormones too. So just how complete it is, how your body processes, that's like my favorite thing about it. And then of course, to help women realize that their health is cumulative. Your health is cumulative. It's not just about, I've been taking a multivitamin for a month. Yay. Okay, well, have you been depleting your system for years? Have you been in a really stressful job for the past decade? No wonder why your cortisol levels are fried. It's really allowing you to see the complete picture about what's been going on for your health over a longer span of time, which can help women understand then how long it might take to get back on track with some things. Because of course we'd all like results yesterday. Like, I want to feel better yesterday. But it can take a while. And understanding that and seeing that information just laid out there like that it's a great, not only, like I said, that roadmap to understanding what's going on in your system, but it's also great for an educational tool for people. So everybody can understand, okay, yep, here's where I am in my journey. It's just going to take that long. I feel like having it shipped to their home, and now more than ever, I think people are getting used to virtual visits, right? At-home testing, sending it in, and honestly, it's convenient. Having that, it's a convenience that I don't have to go in anywhere to take a test. I don't have to be there at a certain time or rearrange a schedule or worry about if a kid is going to get sick or da-da-da-da. It's that much easier to have it just shipped right to their home. They take it and it gets sent in, and there you go. So the adrenal test that you guys have is so valuable because it's really, really helpful to see what your adrenal function is, what your cortisol levels are, and how this all ties in together. So there's a lot of gals that can have a cortisol level right in the middle of the day. That is fine. So if you were to go in and get a saliva cortisol at a clinic and they're like, oh, look, it's fine. You're fine. See you later. Yet they're like, oh my gosh, I wake up and it takes me an hour to actually feel like I wake up. Like I feel like a zombie for the first hour before I actually feel like my brain is working. And I feel good for a little part of the day, which is when they would get their saliva cortisol. And then at nighttime, they're so fatigued they can't get off the couch. Like that's not normal. That's not normal. And those are signs of adrenal fatigue. But when you get this test and you see the levels and it lays it out there for you, and like to really understand, listen, if you do not put your health as a priority, it's not going to get better. If you do not focus more on rest and recovery, this isn't going to improve. Just hands down, getting faster results, better results, more understanding, more compliance, more, I want to say patience with their own systems. You know what I mean? Because sometimes you can feel like, oh, well, I'm doing this thing, and if it doesn't get better in a month, it must not be working. But based on whatever we're seeing their levels are, it's easy for them to see, oh, this is bad. Okay, it's going to take at least a few months for this to really turn around. Yes. And really having that understanding and expectation, as well as not missing anything. So before doing Dutch test, right, it's like, oh yeah, things are improving, right? But there's other things that maybe were missed or not improving. And now after Dutch test, it's like they're improving much quicker and at a better rate, but we're also not missing things. I call it an easy tool. Once you understand as a provider, and I would say that's probably the biggest barrier as a provider to get started with something like this, is just that it's a different thing. And it's not something that a lot of schools go into. Sometimes it's really hard to get started with it. But it allows you to really see way more in depth on patients, right? It's like inch wide, mile deep on their health, really focused on their endocrine system and really getting that to improve. Because a lot of times they'll go, oh yeah, I got a blood test run and everything was fine. Everything was fine, right? They got a CBC run. Great, everything's fine. You have your red blood cells and white blood cells are fine. Cool. But your adrenals are tanked. So that's why you feel like garbage. You know, it allows you to really see that view. And again, it is such an easy, fast tool to use for somebody's health to guide them to what I would consider real wellness. Not just, slapping a Band-Aid on a bullet hole. So once you understand how to read the test, how to go through it, how to make recommendations, it's such an easy path to take people through. And really, really valuable, really, really valuable. But at least twice a week, I have gals that break down on the phone in tears because they are so grateful for the information to understand what's going on in their body. Nutrition-wise, I always recommend women get more protein. That's like one of the number one nutrients I find women aren't getting enough of. You're not getting enough protein to build and maintain muscle tissue, to withstand the detoxification that your body would need to go through to process those hormones properly, to combat stress and cortisol levels, all that stuff. So getting enough protein is one of the number one things that we focus on nutritionally, as well as, clean eating, all that other good stuff, of course, right?